8276. This is 8277. Oh yes, they came to check your air filters. I'm not sure. This is 8277.
Apartment. No one came to air filters.
Can you repeat that?
No one came to check the apartment.
No. Yeah, we're checking the air filters.
Oh, nobody's home right now. We'll have to wait until another day.
Oh, much appreciated. 872.
All right, new tonight here at 10 o'clock, a pretty incredible story of a family of three wondering why their baby daughter kept getting sick and why they had a strange odor in their home. Was it their apartment? Was it the water? Well, when they saw this, a man injecting some sort of chemical through the bottom of their door into their home, they knew their lives could be in jeopardy. Fox 13's Janae Lewis is here with us in studio tonight with this story. Janae, we're speechless here.
Yeah, it's hard to watch that video and not feel any other way. The family says the excitement they had at moving into their new home quickly turned into terror, and you saw why. As a frustrated neighbor took his concerns too far, now they're afraid to be inside that very home.
It is extremely scary.
Umar Abdullah says it's very difficult to talk about the last few months. He says it started with complaints from a downstairs neighbor over noise.
So after my daughter was born in August last year, his complaint, like footstep complaint, drawer closing.
But escalated to this.
I installed a hidden camera outside because we were suspecting someone is basically tampering our place from outside. And then we caught our neighbor injecting something through our door.
He says a friend noticed an unusual chemical odor in their home in May. They checked the appliances, hoping to determine the source of the smell, but couldn't. A month later, Umar says his eyes started to burn and his daughter was coughing and throwing up. He says the smell had returned, so he checked the water heater nearby, finding a strong odor.
I was bending down. I sniffed all through that place. And
after replacing it, Umar says the odor and discomfort returned. This is when he set up the hidden camera.
On June 27th, I found that our neighbor is coming with a syringe. He's pulling something from a vial and then he's injecting through our entry door. If we could not have found that incident on the camera, probably after a few days, we might have been just dead.
He called police and records show Zooming Lee was arrested and charged with multiple counts of battery and possession of a controlled substance. The report identified him as a USF student. A spokesperson from USF says he is no longer enrolled as of this summer. He was a PhD student in the chemistry department.
If people use their knowledge, this extreme knowledge, to harm people, I mean, they can be even more dangerous.
The tactical team exhausted every resource available, from communication to playing family messages. The gunfire, the exchange of gunfire there was thousands of gunfire.
Thousands of rounds of gunfire, a city neighborhood riddled with bullets. Tonight, a lot of questions remain. One day after that shootout in Garfield, we can tell you that dozens of officers who were involved are now off the street. They include 47 City of Pittsburgh officers, 12 Allegheny County police officers, and 16 Allegheny County Sheriff's deputies. Police say those officers will be evaluated after their involvement in that highly charged situation yesterday. They'll likely be off the streets for several days. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Ken Rice.
Christine and Ken, yeah, yesterday we were telling you just the amount of gunfire that was exchanged yesterday, and you were able to see in that video the damage left behind at that row house, showing you just how intense this standoff was. You can see behind me that home has since been boarded up, but right now on this street, you can see neighbors are out and about. They are alongside city leaders assessing the damage from those bullets, like what you can see right here on this house. Evidence of bullets whizzing by. Neighbors tell me yesterday they felt like they were in the middle of a war zone brought on by a man that they barely knew.
Good morning, sir. How's your day? And then he was telling me that they're going to pay for this. I'm like, ooh, I said, beyond the street is cool. He said, you'll see. And he walked away.
That man, who lives just a few doors down, says he had no idea that just days after that conversation with William Hardison, he turned what's been described as a normal, quiet neighborhood into a nightmare.
I couldn't even count. It had to be over 2,000 rounds. Coming and going. Please him, please him. They were so loud, you would have thought it was a bomb.
City officials and police giving an update today on the response, saying their attempts to make contact with Hardison and bring the situation to a peaceful end were met either by silence or that barrage of bullets.
The gunfire, the exchange of gunfire was, there was thousands of gunfire. I just couldn't tell you the number.
The exact amount of shots, ammunition, even weapons used by the suspect is still under investigation by state police. And although neighbors say they had no idea what kind of stockpile Hardison may have been sitting on, one says she did see him with a gun case, which she says contained more than one rifle.
Because it was heavy. He was struggling from across the street to his house to get it into his house.
His house, the one he refused to leave, now left battered from a gun battle, as are the homes nearby, including the one that shares a wall with the now crime scene. Our camera was invited inside, capturing several bullet holes in that shared wall, one big enough to see right through.
It was a dramatic scene. I didn't never think it would have got to this point.
The family of a man accused of shooting a Harris County Sheriff's deputy, becoming a wanted fugitive, and then allegedly opening fire on more law enforcement officers while an hours-long standoff was happening. And he does have a message for the victims.
Fox 26's Donnelly Keith joins us live in Humboldt, where yesterday's standoff came to an end. Donnelly.
Yeah, you know, just looking at this house, it tells a surreal story of how a 5-hour standoff and a 24-hour manhunt came to an end with SWAT equipment that looks like a military tank used to punch holes in the house, which revealed a wanted fugitive hiding inside after investigators say he shot a sheriff's deputy during what was supposed to be a simple traffic stop on Wednesday. These gunshots in this Humboldt neighborhood left Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Sean O'Banion and U.S. Marshals Manuel Soto and Juan Lara shot and injured as they swarmed this home to arrest a fugitive. According to detectives, it was Teran Green who opened fire, seen here being taken into custody after the shots rang out after a 5-hour standoff.
I literally started crying.
Crying because as all of Houston was on the hunt for an armed and dangerous gunman who shot Sheriff's Deputy Joseph Anderson Wednesday during a traffic stop, Arnacia Allridge's family found out it was her first cousin Teran who was the man wanted for the heinous crime.
We grew up very close together, sharing the same bed. We bathe together, you eat together, we live together.
Now her cousin stands accused of the unthinkable.
We really want to offer our deepest condolences to the injured officers, their families, and all of those who have been affected by the recent events.
A woman was back at the home where Green was captured trying to salvage what she could. I'm told it was not a relative he was staying with. In fact, since the manhunt began, Green's family has worked closely with law enforcement.
I think the police force has done a great job. We had all been in cooperation and talking with them to help resolve this as soon as we could.
We are very grateful right now that we are not planning 4 funerals for law enforcement.
Green is now charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. When Deputy Anderson stopped him, Green had outstanding warrants for jumping bond after he was charged in March with aggravated assault of a family member and being a felon in possession of a firearm.
The families of all parties are all affected, and I think prayers should just go out to everyone that's affected with an emphasis on those officers who were injured in the line of duty.
This is 37-year-old Kelly Koike, the woman found dead in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park on Sunday night. Her mother described the conversation she had Monday with the coroner.
Yesterday, they find your daughter in duffel bag, a dog walker find her.
Roya Koike tells us her daughter was living on the streets of San Francisco.
I'm Kelly, we're homeless.
Suffered from a mental illness, saying she had a lifelong passion for makeup and design, even changing her eye color to all white at one point.
I know deep down in her, without this part here, she's a good girl. She wasn't messed up here. But she got killed.
Police will only say this is a suspicious death. Investigators worked late into the night Sunday at Golden Gate Park, but so far no arrests have been made.
Details at 11 about what led a DeLand police sergeant and a Volusia County deputy to open fire during a traffic stop, killing a man. For hours, there was a huge police presence near Woodland Boulevard and Euclid Avenue in DeLand. That's about a block from the DeLand Little League fields. News 6's Treasure Roberts is live outside the DeLand Police Department tonight with new details on the man who was killed. Treasure?
Lisa, Matt, law enforcement officers say the man was known to DeLand police and the Volusia County Sheriff. They said his criminal career began at the age of 12. DeLand police were investigating an unrelated burglary on Euclid Avenue near Woodland Boulevard Friday afternoon when this white Dodge Charger entered the area.
They were looking for that vehicle, and it just happened to go past them.
Inside were 3 people,
The deceased was sitting in that seat.
including the backseat passenger, 20-year-old Javion Barthel, who was killed. DeLand police tell News 6 the white Charger was connected to a previous aggravated assault with a firearm that happened August 17th. Officers say a license plate reader placed the car at this scene where an unknown person attempted to shoot at 2 women, but the gun malfunctioned and the shooter ran. So they conducted a traffic stop, assisted by a Volusia County deputy who happened to be nearby. Law enforcement officers say Barthel pointed a gun at the DeLand officer from the back window.
Which causes him to fire, which causes my deputy to return to fire into the car as well.
Immediately after shooting Barthel, officers say they rendered aid, but he died on scene.
Of a mother of 2 in the Bronx, officers were conducting a wellness check at an apartment on Arno Avenue in the Allerton section yesterday afternoon when they found the body of 45-year-old Cindy Maxwell shot several times. Investigators are now searching for her killer and trying to figure out a motive.
Other news tonight, police investigating 2 attacks on the subway here. A 50-year-old man was stabbed in the head around 8 this evening on a platform at the 28th Street and Park Avenue station in Kips Bay. First responders rushed that man to the hospital. He is expected to be okay. Earlier in the evening, a man was stabbed in the stomach in Brooklyn. This attack around 7 near the Fulton Avenue train station. The victim also expected to survive. So far, no arrest in either stabbing.
Information on breaking news on Manhattan's Upper West Side. 4 people found dead in an apartment building, and we've just learned 2 of the victims are children, ages 1 and 3.
Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger is at the scene with the breaking details. Josh?
Well, Joe, there's no way this could get any worse. Police just clarified the ages of the children are 1 and 2. The children and both of their parents found dead in their apartment in the building behind me. Large police presence growing now. Detectives crawling all over this block as they try to process the very gruesome scene inside the 4th floor apartment in this building. We could show you video as this scene has started to expand. This all just very fresh, happening at around 3 o'clock this afternoon when police say the grandfather of the children, in other words, the father of the kid's father, was concerned that he hadn't heard from his son and came to the family's apartment here on the 4th floor. This is 328 East 86th, just off West End here on the Upper West Side. Got no answer, and then for whatever reason was concerned enough to call police. Police came. They had to force the door open, and they discovered the entire family was dead. It's a 41-year-old man, that's the father, a 40-year-old woman, and then a 2-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. All of them found dead in the apartment. Police also recovered a number of knives on the scene, and there is trauma, we are told, involving all of the victims, although it's not clear right now yet exactly how they died.
Good morning, Kentucky, and a half an hour here left of our show this morning, and we are getting right to that breaking news that we have been bringing you all morning long since the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Eric King has been at the 300 block of Market Street for us at the Southern Lounge, where, Eric, we know that there has been a shooting. We know that one person is dead, another critically injured this morning, and we're getting more updates now from LMPD as well about those other victims and what exactly happened here this morning.
And Grace, when you mentioned those other victims, we're talking about 5 other people in area hospitals ranging from University Hospital, the level 1 trauma facility for the region, and Jewish Hospital. And the reason for that is what's interesting about this shooting, one of the things that's interesting about this shooting is several of those victims self-transported to area hospitals. So as you mentioned, one person is dead as a result of a shooting that happened at or inside the Southern Lounge here at 3rd and Market. One person is in critical condition at University Hospital. Those others are in conditions that we're told to be non-life-threatening. The one person that I mentioned that is at Jewish Hospital, as we understand from Metro Police, is not the victim of a shooting, but more of a victim of the chaos and fear that happens after the shooting, when there's this massive effort for people to get out of the building or get to safety. We're told that person was likely involved in some sort of a fall or something of that nature, so their injuries are non-life-threatening.
A 23-year-old man is charged with murder in the death of a 2-year-old boy. Investigators say Latrell Lewis was watching his girlfriend's son in the Bergen Beach section of Brooklyn. Someone called 911, and when police arrived, they found the boy unresponsive with bruises on his stomach. The toddler was pronounced dead at a hospital. Lewis is charged with murder.
Exclusive video tonight of the chaos inside of a deli when someone started shooting. 2 people were hit. Tonight, no arrests and no word on a motive. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang has the story from East Harlem.
It was business as usual at this neighborhood bodega in East Harlem on Monday, except shortly before 5 p.m., this popular store became a crime scene after 2 men were shot. Take a look at this exclusive surveillance video. Both victims are by the counter. Another man walks in, approaches the first victim. It looks like he shoots him from behind. The apparent shooter runs out of the store about the same time as another customer. They bump into each other, and that customer is also shot on the sidewalk. The video then shows the alleged gunman race back into the bodega, grab this bag, and flee, all while the first victim crawls behind the counter for coverage.
I could have been one of them victims in there buying something. It could have been a little kid in there.
Police shut down this section of 3rd Avenue between East 122nd and 123rd Streets as they searched for evidence. Our Newscopter 7 overhead. Both victims rushed to Harlem Hospital in serious but stable condition.
This is not rational behavior of an adult, lighting newspapers on fire and throwing the lit papers at school children in a subway station. But that's exactly what you're seeing in this cell phone video obtained by Pix 11 News. Stephen Kallstrom witnessed it all. He pulled out his cell phone and recorded this video.
I believe his cigar or whatever he used to light his cigar with, and he was throwing them in like balls.
It happened here at the 33rd Street station near Park Avenue around 5:30 Monday evening. Sources tell us it appears the man and the students were arguing, but it's still unclear how or why things escalated to this. What happened here was a topic of discussion during an NYPD news briefing. Police say they are looking at this video as evidence.
From the video that we've seen and the interviews that we've conducted, it seems that possibly maybe a little bit mentally unstable at this point, maybe a dispute or an encounter before he got to the turnstile and lit that paper on fire.
Kallstrom says he used his water bottle to put out some of the fires and asked people to call 911.
New Yorkers are better than this, so it pisses me off. I hope you guys just catch him.
Arrested in New Jersey, accused of living in a house of horrors that's forced their 9-year-old child to live with the remains of dozens of dead dogs. The disturbing discovery made on Main Street in Evesham Township yesterday. Police say the conditions in that house were so deplorable that they had to open the windows and doors to air it out before workers could come in. They found 30 dead dogs, 14 dogs that were still alive, but one of them had to be euthanized.
It's definitely concerning having a 9-year-old child living in this home, sleeping in the home, eating in this home.
Disgusted. From the animals, having a child in there, and for it being so close to my residence, it doesn't sit well with me.
Police believe as many as 100 dogs may have died at the home from malnourishment. Several cats and rabbits were also found there. 36-year-old Rebecca Halbach and 32-year-old Brandon Laconi are now charged with animal abuse and endangering the welfare of a child.